guys, and welcome to Airability, your regular dose of lead therapy. Now today I'm here and I'm joined by the Airgun Technologies Vixen, the AGT Vixen, and I must admit this is going to be another fanboy review. I absolutely love this rifle. But before we start, why don't we take a closer look at what we're going to talk about? Well, as you can see, this is a very pointable, compact and light hunting rifle. Purely built for vermin hunting, hence the name Vixen. But as I've found out, it's extremely accurate. Now, it comes in at about 2.7 kilograms in its, unladen format without a scope or a bipod. Now, with this whopping great big scope on here and a bipod, it's still under 4 kilograms, which I think is pretty nice. And this makes it really pointable, easy to carry, and very functional. If you were one of these outdoor people doing a bit of bunny bashing or something like that. But as you know, my reviews are more focused on Benchrest shooting and how actually accurate are these guns. You know what I mean? These guns make an awful lot of claims, manufacturers, but I like to get to the bottom of it, and I shoot these targets here where you can see by the fraction of a millimetre how good they are. You will never see shooting splat targets on my channel because, they do hide the inadequacies of both the shooter and the gun. So they go in the box of shame. So back to the gun now. Right. We have a fully shrouded, this is the long version, 40 centimeters CZ barrel. This is a beautiful barrel. It's proved to be very accurate for me. So it's shrouded in a 50 millimeter shroud. At the end of the shroud, there's all sorts of jiggery pokery. There's kind of like baffles and an air stripper inside. And then the rest of the shroud is filled with kind of a fiber to, also make it into a silencer. There's no silencer attachment on the end because it's all built in, because it's a hunting gun. I will say it reduces the level of sound to a level that I feel comfortable shooting it in my garden and in my shed without worrying about the neighbours. A good thing about the shroud is nice little touches. It doesn't quite touch the block. Now, for those people seeking extreme accuracy, this is a good thing, because you have different expansion rates of all the components and the block and the barrel. And if it's tight up, it can actually move things microscopically and interfere with that accuracy. So I like that when I saw that. So there you go. So it's a CZ barrel inside a shroud, which is also a silencer. The shroud can be turned and removed on the long version, which enables you to get a pull through to clean the barrel. I must admit, I would always clean the barrel with a new rifle, and I did with this because it did have a lot of pack and lubricant in it. But anyway, so yeah, fantastic shroud. Underneath the shroud is a composite or plastic accessory rail. It's probably the only criticism I have of this rifle is it's a bit flexible. I would only ever put a torch or something on it. I wouldn't put anything that I'm leaning on, such as a bipod or a front grip, because it may actually touch the barrel and interfere with accuracy. I understand that you can get upgrades for these, so if that's something you want to do, you might want to look at that. Underneath is a metal Picatinny rail here that I've got the bipod attached to, and that fits onto the block here, and there's also the other half of the Picatinny rail is actually attached to the block directly. this is absolutely rock solid. I've got my trusty UTG bipod on here. Yes, there's a review of that if you look in the description to this video. It's not very expensive. I've used it for years now, and you know, you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds to get a functional bipod, and it's way better than those really cheap ones on eBay. So coming back here, we've looked at the two Picatinny rails, the accessory rail here, the shroud. Onto the block at the top here, we have a solid Picatinny rail. What I like about this Picatinny rail is it is long enough to actually put a scope on and get the correct eye relief. Some of these smaller rifles, you don't get the length of Picatinny rail to put a scope on, and you end up messing around with forward reach mounts. But there's plenty of room, and as you can see, my scope is nowhere near the end of the Picatinny, so that's a really great feature for me. Now I've got my Falcon Optics T50i on top of this, and I have two of these, and this is my trusty kind of review scope. When I review a rifle, I like to have a scope on it that I know, so I know the performance of the rifle. I'm not worrying if it's the performance of the scope, and vice versa. I like to use one of my rifles when I'm reviewing a scope that I know about. So this makes sure that the performance of the rifle is what it actually is, and I'm not having problems with the scope. So coming down here, got a nice block here. As you can see, the cocking lever, it actually, you can change it to either side. It came on the left-hand side. I changed it over. It took me about 3 minutes. Even a numpty like me could do it. Nice smooth cocking. When you cock it all the way back here, it locks, so you can get these lovely metal magazines in and out. Like I said before on the Vulcan tactical review, metal magazines, plastic insert for the wheel, very solid. There's nothing much you can say about them other than they work faultlessly. And you get two of them in the bag, as well as a filling tube which fits onto your bottle, which, you know, saves a little bit of money getting the fill probe and the tube with the gun. Now, the good thing about this is it stays back when you cock it, which means you can remove the magazine without having to hold it back and do all this fiddling like you have to do on some guns. There's a little ball bearing in there that holds the magazine in place. It just pops out the way when you push it out. Now, as you can see, moving down to the trigger, you know, this is a hunting gun, and I didn't have very high expectations of the trigger. I knew it was going to be functional. I knew it was going to, you know, enable me to shoot accurately. But what I will say, this is a really nice trigger, even for a Benchrest shooter. It only has two real adjustments, and one of the adjustments is the length of the first stage, which I adjusted to virtually nothing, and then the weight of the trigger pull, which I lightened up to the point of where the rifle was still safely functional, but enabled me to, you know, shoot a Benchrest quality shot off. So I'm very happy with the trigger. You know, as a hunting gun goes, this trigger is as good as it gets. So I'm very happy about that. Moving on to the grip here, we've got the standard AR style grip, and it's one of the ones with like the I don't know what you call it, the beaver tail, the tail at the back. There are two types, one without a tail, one with a tail, and this means you can customize your gun. You know, you can make it you. If you look on the internet, there's a gazillion different types of grips you can buy for these guns, and you can really make your gun you. You can even 3D print stuff off the internet. So there you go. And moving back along here, in the middle section here, we have the gauge, and you can fill this cylinder up to 300 bar. So it's a tiny little cylinder, but because you can fill it up to 300 bar, you know, you're not really that limited on your shot count. Definitely not for hunting. Anyway, so the easy gauge, you can fill the cylinder up to 300 bar. Directly below it is the fill probe port, and remember, you get the fill probe and the fill probe whip lead, an attachment for your bottle, all in with the kit. and you get an AGT bag to carry it in. So you get everything basically except the scope that you need to go out and shoot. Now, standard probe, this probe is the same as the other AGTs. It happens to be the same as my Anshot, Steyr, and many other rifles. So if you own a few rifles, you probably have the setup already ready there to fill this. I certainly do. Now, the regulator's in here as well, and underneath here is the hammer spring adjuster. It's a little wheel that you can move by putting an Allen key in a hole. But remember, you need to take the grip off, because there's a little lock screw, little grub screw that locks it just a little way under that little tail of the grip here. So make sure you unlock it and you don't force it, if you just want to tweak those speeds to match the best speed for your pellet. Now, moving back here, it's quite, I've seen a few rifles now doing this, but it's still quite rare. The bottle is the butt on the rifle, which makes the whole design low and sleek and pointable, and that's the whole point of this gun. It's not large, it's not deep, it's absolutely beautiful, and that's why I was drawn to it, because that's what Benchrest shooters look for, long, sleek guns. So anyway, got the cylinder here, and you've got a neoprene cover on the bottle. What I will say is it's very comfortable. It's about the right height for me. I've got low mounts on here. All works well. If the eye relief, if you need to bring yourself up a little bit, all I would do would be push something under the neoprene sleeve here, you could raise the cheek piece and it wouldn't look bad neither. Because I've heard a couple of people say that the eye relief can be a little, that the cheek is a little low. But for me, it was right. It's all about choosing the right mount. On the back here, we have the same composite material as the front rail. We have the butt assembly, and the butt actually, there's one screw that grips it around the bottle, and it's just a little cap that slips on. It's very easily removable. Now, right at the back is a standard vertically adjustable rubber butt pad that's on nearly every gun ever made. Now, why am I such a fanboy about this? Like I said before, there's no shooting splat targets on this channel. So I set this, cleaned the barrel, I fiddled with the trigger before I brought it into the shed. I put my trusty scope on it, and I did one target to sight it in. And the next target, as you can see here, I shot 250. Now remember, we shooting, this is a 177. When we shoot targets, Benchrest shooters, we probe them up to 2.2, because you can shoot 2.2 in our Benchrest competitions to make sure it's fair for everybody, whatever caliber you shoot. So yeah, I shot 250 on my first proper card. That shot, as you can see here, I did have to probe one in because I was a little bit sloppy, but other than that, it just got better and better as I shot it all day. So what I'm thinking of now is the ultimate question is will this gun Benchrest? Will it Benchrest? And I really think it will. And so, can you remember last year I did a series of videos about the Chiappa from Ratworks, where I took a standard, rifle. It was about £850, and I turned it into a competitive Benchrest rifle, and it really did work. And that rifle has been used in Benchrest competitions, to great effect. I don't use it myself personally, but I've had friends use it, and I've also had friends buy Chiappas because of those videos and use them in competitions. So you might remember that journey. Well, I'm going to take the same journey with this, because I am convinced with the addition of my new 3D printer, I can print some parts up, such as a front block and a bag rider for the back. And I'm sure this gun is Benchrest accurate. I really want to give it a go. So hopefully you'll follow me on my journey over the next few weeks to see what I can actually drag out of this gun. Until next time, guys, remember, get out there and live that airgun dream, and take care. Bye-bye.